Today's episode of No Fun Saeedi is brought to you by Roots of Fight. Check them out at rootsoffight.com and be sure to hit subscribe for your chance to win an awesome prize pack. Welcome to the No Fun Saeedi podcast, episode 7. Got a little bit of housekeeping to do and a couple announcements. So first things first, we had a giveaway, 2 comic books from episode 5. David Daneman was in the house. A bunch of people, the whole thing was they were supposed to comment the Daneman on any of the YouTube podcast videos. Okay. And subscribe. Okay. But like 90% of people commented the Daneman and didn't subscribe.
You gotta subscribe.
You gotta listen.
There's more of this coming too, I imagine.
There is. So you gotta listen. And honestly, if you haven't subscribed, you should, because your odds of winning right now are super good. Jago Star 1. I guess that's how you say it.
We have a winner.
Yeah, you have won because you subscribed and you commented the Daneman on episode 6 or 5, one of those two. So these 2 books are coming to you. You gotta DM me. So DM me on Instagram and we'll figure this out for you. At Mahyar Saeedi. It's on the YouTube channel and the page and all the links and all that jazz. So Jiggle Star 1, you win. You get your 2 copies and I'll send that to you ASAP. The other thing is that, where do I begin with this one? So I did a video about a limited edition jacket by a company called Roots of Fight.
Cool.
And then I thought in the video I got charged $250 for shipping and handling, US, which is crazy, right? And as soon as I posted the video, the owner of the company reached out to me and he's like, "Hey Mahyar, this is Jesse from Roots of Fight, and I saw your video, awesome stuff. You shouldn't have been charged that money. We're rectifying it for you right now." And it turns out I wasn't even charged that. It was just on the slip for some reason, so it just confused me.
Right.
So long story short, they figured it out right away, and then he's like, "Great video, we're going to send you some shit too." So this week, actually on Monday, yesterday, I got a random package, like this is like a month later, and it had
sick.
It had 3 t-shirts. So this one I'm wearing Tyson, and then these 2 that are based on The Fighter and the Kid and Below the Belt podcast, which they did a collaboration with, which had the jacket, like part of it. So that's why they gave me these 2, and this one's just a new shirt that they came out with. So please check out Roots of Fight. If you're into MMA, boxing, or old school wrestling type nostalgia gear, and a bunch of their stuff's limited edition, some of it's not. They got great stuff. So super thankful to Jesse, super thankful to Roots of Fight, and yeah, I'll be sporting these on my channel for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I love those when the free stuff starts rolling in because they appreciate what you're doing.
Definitely. I wasn't going to mention this in this podcast, but I will. I'm getting a package tomorrow. Back in December, I got an email randomly from Orangutan Wheels and Loaded Boards. And you know Orangutan Wheels and Loaded Boards. Yeah. If you don't, if you look behind Alex, there's a skateboard back there. That deck and those wheels are from Orangutan Wheels and Loaded. They saw one of my videos about a review I did about their wheels, and they contacted me and they're like, "Hey, we saw your video, blah, 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 blah. Just wanted to say hi." And I'm like, "That's cool." It was Kyle from Orangutan, so shout out to Kyle. I'm like, "Awesome, Kyle." I'm like, "Is there any way we could collaborate together?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not? What were you thinking?" And I threw him like a bunch of ideas. I'm thinking this guy's just going to say yes to one of them. Kyle says yes to all of them. Long story short, I was shocked.
They've got someone good in marketing.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I'm no Casey Neistat, you know what I mean? Like, I got 200 subscribers, so shout out to Kyle. Anyway, they're sending me like $600 worth of merch.
Sick.
For myself, as giveaways for the YouTube channel, as giveaways to our group rides and our Eastgate meetups. For the next 4 to 6 months or so, I will be kind of collaborating with them in some ongoing stuff, and you'll see more of that in another type of video that I'll be doing with them. So super stoked about that, and that package arrives tomorrow. That being said, let's introduce you, Alex, because we got to talk about what we're doing here today and why you're even here. So joined with me today, episode 7, is Alex Hillman.
That's
and
right.
Alex is both known as the Good Guy Biker, and he's also known as a Crypto King.
That's right.
And Alex, why don't you describe what both those things are, starting with the Good Guy Biker.
Okay. So the Good Guy Biker is a really good place to start. I think that sets up the foundation of everything we do. It's where all our goodwill comes from. Many years ago, so I've been doing YouTube for a long time, and we've sold a lot of channels. We've done a lot of outreach. It's something I really love. One of our videos we did from a charity ride on a motorcycle ride through the Vespa shop here in Vancouver. I pulled over to help a blind man. A year or two later, someone had posted just that 45-second clip of me pulling over to help the blind man. And it just went bonkers crazy online. It went viral, and we were getting interviewed by The Ellen Show and Good Morning America and CNN and all the different Canadian news stations. And so they were calling it the Canadian Good Guy Biker. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anything of it. It was just a video of us on a Vespa charity ride.
Yeah.
But I realized really quick that I was getting all these messages from people. It's how inspired they were by such a simple act. Mm-hmm. And I learned really quickly that we could put a lot of good out in the world through the Good Guy Biker stuff. So we kept it up. We continued to do more. And it wasn't something I went out and tried to do at first. We would just leave the camera running on different group rides. And when we went backcountry, and I encountered a woman stealing mail at Christmas one time, and I made her return it all. Old people had a tarp under their car that was wrecking their wheel well. All sorts of really interesting things happen. And you get the opportunity to do good, but then you also get the opportunity to share that good and inspire a lot of other people. It just so happens that on the motorcycle, we always have the camera running. Yeah. But most people, especially here in Canada, I feel get up for people on the bus. They stop when they see someone in need. People really try to help when they can. So I think this is normal behavior. But being in these unique situations, like on an electric skateboard, you have a camera running. Mm-hmm. You can share that. So that's the Good Guy Biker stuff. And we've done millions and millions and millions of views on those videos. We've licensed them dozens of times. They've been featured all over the web. It ended up leading to a lot of different business opportunities, being paid by Daily Motion and Break and LiveLeak and YouTube and all these other different communities. It's led to a lot of brand ambassador work. Like what you were referring to. Yeah. They pay us an hourly, a lot of product placement, paying me to wear watches or sunglasses or review different electronics or motorcycle parts. So it's been a blessing for sure. It's been a wild ride. Doing what you love, doing nice things while you do what you love for other people, and then having that turn into a living for you. It's a wild ride. That brings us to the Crypto Kings. So being project driven. So I had a repair shop for many years where I repaired phones and electronics, did some really high-end work. But I got really sick of owning a repair shop really quickly. It only lasted about 2.5 years. I loved having co-op students around. Yeah. I loved teaching people about the tech. I loved I couldn't give these people an hourly wage because they were in the high school co-op program. Okay. But I would give them laptops and I'd buy them the tool kits that they needed, and they'd start fixing all their friends' computers and their friends' parents' phones. And I love that. I love watching people grow opportunity and grow into business. But every day I left, there was someone tapping their foot at 5:30, waiting at the door as I was leaving. And every morning I showed up, there was someone tapping their foot, waiting for me when I arrived. And with my casual lifestyle, it was my shop. There wasn't, Christ, for a year and a half, you had to come through the back of a motorcycle shop to even get in there. So it wasn't even like it was in the back of a storage unit for the shop next door. Yeah. And it was great. We were doing like $2,800 a day in cash all the time. But like the 100th time I fixed a red ring of death on an Xbox, or I replaced a gear in the DVD drive of a PlayStation, or swapped the glass on an iPhone, I got so sick of that so fast. And so I ended up closing it because it wasn't interesting. I wasn't learning anymore. And at the beginning, I was learning so much.
So tell people what exactly Crypto Kings is, what you guys do.
Yeah.
How you got started?
So we made a lot of money fast. We did really good. So we got in. So Crypto Kings is Spencer and I founded a company.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, we did almost $280,000 worth of sales in our first month. Just bam. And we're pushing close to $2 million worth of sales now.
What year was this?
This was, we started in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, December was really our first month of operations, 2017.
Yeah.
Now, I'd been mining, and then we had been mining up until that point, prior to that, several months beforehand, which is what had given us all, Spencer and I, all this money to put into this equipment and go scale. There was a lot of people in the space that had gotten really wealthy really quickly. Yeah. At the beginning of 2017 or in 2016, they had put $4,000 into Bitcoin or Ethereum. Mm. And now comes December 2017, they're worth $1.6 million. Quite literally.
Like their total.
Their $4,000 of Ethereum is now worth $1.6 million. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the math. And so we were fortunate enough to talk a lot of these people into what I would call good business practices and good financial practices. Instead of waiting for the Bitcoin to go to 40,000, sell them all at 20, buy them back up at 3.5, sell them again when they hit 100. Like, there's a lot of ways you can approach this instead of just holding it.
Totally.
Now, business went great, goodwill. We actually avoided a lot of the pitfalls, which is where we've been successful throughout the year. But let me just stop here for a second and say, cryptocurrency is an inherently risky space right now. Mm-hmm. It's brand new. It's lacking a lot of legislation and regulation. It's the Wild West. As far as investments are concerned, it's like the internet was 10 years ago. It's the Wild West. We started by building machines.
Yeah.
There's two ways to go with cryptocurrency. You can go the commercial route, which is what the Asic Miners are.
Yeah.
And so when you see a farm in China, a whole warehouse full of these computer machines, these little silver boxes with the black fans, those are ASICs. An ASIC refers to application-specific integrated circuitry. So this is a piece of hardware that was designed to only do that one thing. And that one thing is do the math that's associated with the calculations required to unlock a block on a specific algorithm on the blockchain. What does that actually mean in layman terms? It means that computer that they built is really good at guessing numbers in a way that blockchain needs. It's essentially number guessing. Okay. So the difficulty with ASICs is they lose their profitability really quick due to the maturing of the market, the arms race with this hardware, the difficulty rating. The more people mining a particular coin, the less likely it is for you as a person or as a company to get the rewards. It's more likely that someone else is going to get lucky.
Yeah.
And so your difficulty rating goes up. But as this happens, generally the price rises. Now, I didn't like that business model. I didn't like the commercial aspect of it. You're building a facility out and you're looking at a 2 or 4 year return on investment in a space that's so dynamic and ever changing. We've even seen a lot of these brand new machines, as they're being shipped, the coins will block these machines by changing the code.
Okay.
They're hardening against these ASIC farms. And the reason a lot of the companies want to harden against ASICs is because it results in centralization of these cryptocurrencies. Some guy takes $20 million, buys all the machines, and then he runs the coin.
Yeah.
He is the coin, essentially. He does all the security practices. He gets all the rewards. He controls all the holdings, or she. So I instead looked at being a really big fish in the smaller ponds. And the smaller ponds were things like GPU mining, graphical processor units. Now, these are designed for consumers. Mm-hmm. Most of you at home, I imagine, if you're watching this, probably have a graphics card in your laptop or your computer. And these are designed for doing visual work and rendering, or doing processing in things like Adobe, movie editing, music editing. So they have a much wider scope of application. They can be used for musicians, developers, gamers, VR. The list is literally endless. Just about any computer can see an advantage from using a GPU. So I decided that what we would do is we would target these smaller coins and look at it like a junior Canadian mining operation. Okay? So where a lot of these people were throwing money in and buying whatever hardware was the cheapest and just trying to get as as much going as possible. I looked at most markets similar to cryptocurrency, and I related that to something like the gold market. They often only operate for 8 months out of 4 years. And the reason for that is they only operate when the cost of production is less than the value of gold. So the mine's sitting there, the trucks are parked, they've got a whole wait list of people ready to call, and then all of a sudden the value of gold goes up. Okay, we're on. Everybody warm the trucks up, we're going.
Okay, yeah.
And so then they mine for 8 months until the value drops again, where their cost of production exceeds the actual value of the gold itself. Now, with larger operations, you can hedge your bet, you can mine and hold, you can sell later, but no, most of these companies look at mining and selling it as a liquid asset, right? So I said, that's not smart. How can you... There's no consistency. That's a bad business practice. By coming into an operation like that and focusing on cost, you can reduce your overhead, you can modernize, you can automate, you can go to scale with certain things. And there's a lot of ways to reduce your costs. So I said, if we're going to do this, we want to be able to run all year. We want to be able to live through what they call bleed out cycles in these different markets, where the frivolous, the overspenders, the fat cats, as they say, they start to get pushed out. And this happens as all markets mature. This is a normal cycle in most industries. You get this pullback, and pushes a lot of players out of the space. So we looked at power efficiency as the number one goal. How much hashes, how much coin production can we get per watt of power? And so we tested all the cards, and we decided to go with the NVIDIA 1070 Ti's at the time, because they were the most efficient power-wise. So they didn't produce the most coins, and they certainly were many times more than some of the less expensive cards. But what happened is, throughout the entire bear cycle, we've been profitable. We haven't had to turn off any of our machines. All of our clients at scale have been profitable as well. So, and it's easy to step into a market when the market's high, to buy Bitcoin when it's at 16,000 and sell it at 20. But if you can produce even small amounts of Bitcoin throughout the year passively at a profit, basically you trade electricity for coins. If you're making more coins than you are in electricity, amazing. This is passive. It's a money printer. It's literally a money printer. And whereas you like to do investing and trading, I looked at this like a risk-reward proposition. And I decided, if we're going to put $50,000 in, if I'm going to tell these people to take $1 million out and put $400,000 into this industry, and obviously the market's run, obviously it's inflated. It can't go up like that forever. We were smart enough to know that in December it was at the high, and we were smart enough to know that in January it wasn't going to be able to sustain that increase in value. It was parabolic. It was nuts. So, what is the best way to stay involved in cryptocurrency while being risk adverse? Well, it's certainly not buying ASICs, because those lose their value in about 3 to 4 months. Something like an S9 that you buy at $4,000, you're lucky to get $200 for after its productivity is no longer of value to the coin. And that's just because new machines come out with twice the amount of hardware and use less power and better design. It's this ongoing fight. Yeah. You can always resell a video card. You can always resell a motherboard or a processor. So you want to have $100,000 invested in cryptocurrency and see that upside? You ask me, I say put that in hardware. Because while the cryptocurrency lost 80 to 90% of its value over the last year, hardware has lost maybe at most 30%. And the value they've created in that meantime is well over that loss in value. And if you're maintaining your overhead on a regular basis, taking 30% of your coins out every month and paying your power, then there's zero downside. And when the coins increase in value, if you mine and hold them, you're looking at many times return. So you might be making a few dollars on a card a day right now, but you could sell that literally a year from now, and that'll have equated to making $30 per card per day.
You can mine a coin.
Yeah.
And then push that into Bitcoin and like trade it into Bitcoin and just let that grow. And then when Bitcoin pumps, you could just pull that out if you want to.
Yeah, and of course you can talk about trading the floors and ceilings. We try to take money out once or twice a month on a regular basis for overhead. We try to do it at the market highs. And I've been really lucky all year. I've been saying, so for this 100 right now, when Ethereum hits 160, we're pulling out $2,000. Mm-hmm. And Spencer and I made this agreement. Next time it hits 160, we're pulling some out. And it's tough because anytime you take money out,
I know
you reduce your upside.
I know,
and we're talking 100 times value upside on a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Thousands times. Literally, some coins in 2017 saw an increase of value. 7 coins, five major coins saw a value of 34,000%. So that means if you had $1, it became $34,000. Mm-hmm.
We see it on Binance all the time. There are coins right now that have pumped $150 or 150% or 140% in one day. I don't look at crypto buys and any of my stock buys as long-term holds other than my Bitcoin value, so to speak.
And I would say Ethereum from a technological standpoint
those two
is a long hold.
Yeah, but my point being is that I swing trade 90% of the time, strictly based on technical analysis. Yeah. If you're going to do technical analysis, it's like learning how to read charts, essentially, okay? You need to learn that. It's a process. And
are you just looking at charts, or are you looking at news announcements? Are you looking at conferences? Are you looking at milestones?
So I have sources that I regularly go to that are consistent and are kind of like our group in the crypto mining circle, but for crypto trading. Yep. Okay, so I have 3, maybe 4 sources that are super reliable, that themselves like always have been
giving
right.
you impact causing news and events.
You got it. Right. Not just that, but then also breaking down the technical analysis, sort of solidifying my own thoughts. Okay. And if these people aren't saying the same thing I'm saying, then I don't make that move that I want to make, or I might risk it and do the 1% stop loss because I don't care to lose 1%.
The reason that we tell people to get into mining specifically is because there's always exit strategies. You can put a computer in your basement or your garage or your spare bedroom or your living room. Keep the house warm.
Yeah.
And you can put insurance on that. And if it gets stolen, if it gets broken, if it gets busted, if it catches on fire, there's no loss. Mm-hmm. There's no way to lose your money.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're holding a cryptocurrency, especially when you're leaving those cryptocurrencies in places like exchanges,
like Quadriga, which we'll
get
about.
into.
Yeah.
But all exchanges, no exchange is safe.
We know this. Yeah.
It's the fact of reality.
Yeah.
Why do you think we don't toot our horn at these conferences? We talk to people about security and the risks associated with that. So having a physical asset that's producing cryptocurrency on a passive instance is far less risky than leaving money or investing. Now, when I look at coins, I think maybe we end up with like 3 or 4, maybe 5 cryptocurrencies that are used as wealth stores, store of wealth, maybe at most. I think the majority of these coins lack application. They lack development cycles. They lack milestones. They lack the teams and even just simple application in industry.
I 100% agree.
So for me to invest in a coin at all. Because we're so public, because we have such a large network of people that heed our advice, I audit the team. I audit the project. I go through every white paper of every coin I've ever owned. Right? Like 100%. Now, we've also been really lucky in this matter because we've had only good experiences with our investing and with the places we used to trade. But for me, it's just too risky to tell someone to go buy something with their money. Because I don't feel comfortable doing that. As far as I'm concerned, there's more ways to reduce your risk.
Yeah. Right.
There's always less risky manners, and of course, some people want to take the long shot. Some people are very risk oriented, and I think that's great. You're going to see a higher return than I might with my less risky approach. The difficulty with cryptocurrency, and especially with investing, is you are the bank. You are 100% responsible, and if you make a mistake, or anyone in any of the chain makes a mistake, or intentionally takes your money from you, there's no way of fixing it. Yeah. Not only that, not only is it risky throughout the layers of businesses and people you associate with to do it, like these exchanges to do the trading, the chains themselves are also susceptible to hacking. So someone can get a critical amount of computers on a mining network for X coin, and then double spend attack every coin on the network. And you no longer are in possession of your coins. So you could even have your coins in a hardware wallet, and they could still disappear. And there's literally no legal recourse to this. Zero. And everything gets hacked. Every company, every government body, every computer gets hacked. In time, everything is cracked.
Yeah.
And all of these things that people are doing now, they think they're skirting taxes or buying drugs on Silk Road or all the other things people are doing, illegal activities with these cryptocurrencies. It's going to bite them all in the ass. It's all going to be audited. And the software is going to go back, and all these customers are going to be identified, and it's all going to be tracked, and it's all going to be visual.
I totally agree with you 100% on the whole risk and the whole hacking aspect, like 100%. Where you choose to put your money, whether it be on that exchange or on your hard wallet or whatever it may be, and what happens to it is 100% on the end user. Like, you are...
And don't invest in anything you can't afford to lose.
Yet, at least. Maybe down the road, if it gets regulated, there will be some sort of insurance for that. But I doubt it for now, seeing as most banks and insurance companies are like, well,
I don't know. I would disagree. I would say that the 5 large banks right now are working towards asset management and key holding. All 5.
Let's quickly talk about this,
5.
actually. JP Morgan was telling you not to buy Bitcoin and that it was a fraud. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but one of his team members bought in 2 weeks later.
I'm fucking telling this story, Alex.
Okay.
That was 2 years ago. And on our first podcast that I did, No Fun City, was all about Bitcoin. I said the same fuckers who are telling you not to buy Bitcoin
are developing in the background.
Literally just bought Bitcoin and a shit ton of it. Not just that. This past month, or the past couple months, JP Morgan announced that they are releasing a token, a crypto token.
Stable token. A backed stable token.
Yeah, so what is it, backed by fiat?
Supposedly.
Okay, so now they're developing sort of like crypto currency and blockchain.
This is blockchain entering the financial industry. That's what this is.
Okay. So then we had Facebook, before you could pay Facebook ads with Bitcoin.
Banned everything.
And then they banned it. They removed it.
They literally, our crypto company page still can't promote ads because they still think it as illicit activity.
So here's what happens. I said, listen, if WhatsApp or WeChat Pay, which is very popular in China, I'm like, or PayPal, if those guys start accepting crypto,
PayPal,
just whatever. If those guys start accepting crypto, then it's done. It's here to stay. And what happened?
They've all started accepting.
Facebook just announced that they're going to be releasing a crypto so that we could exchange money through WhatsApp.
And people are talking about that literally becoming the new world currency.
So you're still not convinced? Fine. This is how I know. This is my certainty that crypto and Bitcoin and all that are here to stay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you know for sure. Samsung, back maybe, I think it was 6 months or a year ago actually, announced that they were going to create a processing chip strictly for crypto mining. That was step 1.
The 7
step
nanometer
2
hardware.
Was recently they announced that on their new...
They showed it in January of 2018. They showed it off at the Consumer Electronics Conference in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then...
4 months later, it was under production.
Yeah, and then just recently they announced that their new Samsung phone is going to come with an integrated crypto wallet integrated right into the phone. When you buy it, it's already there.
Not a good idea if you ask me from a security standpoint.
Fair, but why mass
adoption is coming.
Yeah, why would a company like Samsung, okay? Almost, I think they're now the top leading mobile company in the world, maybe, not including China. Yep. Why would a company like Samsung make that kind of move and then be followed by Intel doing the exact same thing with the processing chip if blockchain's not going anywhere? Do you think Samsung sits there and goes, how are we going to waste our money today, guys?
Blockchain is just torrents, but it's secure enough to use money. what you're going to see is the technology just taking over everything.
Yeah.
Because it's distributed computing. And it gives, especially with the Internet of Things, I really feel that fire alarms and doorbells and thermostats are all going to be integrated into the security model. I really do.
Yeah.
That because it makes everything more secure. The more devices. So when it comes to Visa, you should look at Bitcoin as an alternative to Visa, as the way it functions right now as a currency. And with Visa, as a store owner or as a business, you pay a transaction fee to Visa or Google or Citrus or whoever sets you up with your debit machine. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's 1.4% on the low end. It's 4% on the high end from these companies to do this. Okay. Now, what you're paying for, in a sense, of course, there's a profit model built into the people who sell the machines, and commission, residual income, all this kind of stuff. People like to make money, so they build fees into the fees. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, that's supposed to pay for the electricity and the server cost to secure those transactions. So I swipe my Visa card. That transaction goes through the internet, encrypted, to Visa, where they unencrypt the transaction. They then run that through their systems and say, okay, the money's transferred. They move the ledger. It's a public ledger.
Yeah.
The money goes from one address to another.
Mm-hmm.
Now, blockchain is essentially blockchain, the technology allows many things, but from a financial alternative, it allows you to do that exact same thing without the single point of security. So the difficulty with financial transactions being in a single place, a single server, having a single point of connection, that becomes a target for malicious hackers and for exploitation and for errors and bugs and human error. All these things affect that one point of entry really, really badly. And so you see commercial entities, Hacker Team North Korea, you see the shadow brokers and the dark web. These guys target the banks and the credit card companies in those points. And what actually ended up happening in the early 2000s, I don't know if you're familiar with the Cash Boys.
No.
So a hacking group online had infiltrated 4 of the large ATM networks. And they made all these ATMs spit out money. And so they around the world, about 1.2 to like $2 million, it's questionable, was spit out of ATMs.
That's crazy.
Right. But that's because you've got this single point of security.
Yeah.
And once those single points were infected, instead of doing the short run, they did the long con. And they waited. And they kept getting more access. And eventually they were able to take down the whole network of the financial institution instead of just 1 or 2 points.
Wow.
Now, cryptocurrency is going to suffer from these same things. But the way blockchain currently works, your card or my card is just guessing numbers. 16, 48, 431, 1,206,000. And eventually, someone's computer, somewhere in the world, guesses the right number. And the block unlocks. And they get 2 sorts of payments for that. There's the block reward, which is the distribution model from each blockchain. So each coin has its own distribution model.
Yeah.
For Bitcoin, it's going to reduce to 6.5 Bitcoins per block, right? And generally it halves over time. It goes from 12 coins to 6 coins to 3 coins to 1.5 coins. Ethereum just reduced its block reward from 3 to 2.
Okay.
But they also fixed a bug on the network that was causing the difficulty to rise. Oh, and okay. The block time got shorter. So instead of 20 seconds, the block time's closer to 13 seconds now. So even though they reduced the block reward, it still became more profitable to mine.
Yeah.
Because of the frequency increase. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're all guessing numbers. And then what you do is you work together. Because you're guessing 1-1, 2-2. We're both guessing the same numbers. So by you and I hooking our computers together in a pool, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We alternate the guesses.
Yeah.
And then by hooking to larger pools and grouping together, you can do organized guessing. And that increases your luck factor, essentially.
Okay.
And that's why you conglomerate these GPU cards together. That's why the farms conglomerate. And that's why you could solo mine. You could turn your computer on Bitcoin and try to guess the block. And if you get lucky, dude, you just make like tens of thousands of dollars if you unlock a block. You literally make tens of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. But you could go 99 years and never be lucky enough. It's literally a roll of the dice. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So that's where Visa and blockchain is different. Instead of it being maintained on one server, it's being maintained on full nodes all over the world. And all of the miners are constantly validating consensus. It's a consensus model. If anyone disagrees or someone changes it, that gets thrown away. And that's where it has its real technological value, is in its ability to distribute that security, right? To distribute that computing, to distribute that work and offload it to many entities. And also at the same time, making it more secure and less centralized. Yeah, so that's blockchain in a nutshell.
Word.
And that's
I hope people kept up with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You actually did really well in explaining it in layman's terms.
I try. And then the other value, so there's the block reward. And that halves over time. That's the model of distributing the coins. So that's tied to the value of the coins, how many coins are on the market at a time. As the coins get less or harder to mine, generally that increases the value because that increases scarcity. Yeah. Right? So it's really basic metric analytics, and it's pretty normal market forces. It's designed to really follow a scarcity, a evolving scarcity model. As it gets more scarce, the expectation is the value for these things will go up. The other value that's actually in there is the transaction fees. Okay? Now, some blockchains are not being used close to their full potential. So for example, Litecoin. The average of 75% of the Litecoin blocks are empty. No transaction fees, no transactions. Okay? Because it's a very efficient chain. Yeah. But also there's not as much people using it as something like Bitcoin, which has something closer to 50 to 60% of the market dominance on a regular basis. The transaction fees are like the Visa fee that the store owner pays, that 4%. And with blockchain, it's supposed to pay for the electricity and the computing power done by the person who unlocks the block and the full node. And different coins have different models where the people who operate those full nodes also get rewards. They're called uncles or full nodes or master nodes. These sometimes receive benefits for holding all the gigabytes, the full 48 gigabytes of the chain. Whereas as a miner, you're only holding a part of the chain. Yeah. The most recent part. Yeah. Okay. So those transaction fees, when I send you a Bitcoin, it's going to cost me 46 cents. Now, during the adoption phase, when CryptoKitties, a game, came out on Ethereum, or during some of the Bitcoin runs in December of 2017, January 2018, Bitcoin fees were as much as $15. At some points, they were literally $50 to send any amount of Bitcoin, right? Because there was the transaction fees went through the roof. The network wasn't operating optimally. And these are technological issues we're encountering as the adoption and scale hits these industries. Yeah. And there's a lot of things we could talk about, like crypto 2.0 and crypto 3.0. Like the internet existed, and then they added different layers: email, TCP/IP protocol, FTPs, email servers, HTTP, emails of FTP. It all got layered on top of this. And that's what we're doing. Like the Lightning Network is what you would call a layer 2 on Bitcoin. And it's intended to reduce the cost of those fees by doing a lot of that work off of blockchain and then serving up a confirmed result to blockchain. Okay. Yeah, so that's a layer 2 solution. The other solutions that technically a lot of people are working towards could be side chains, where like Amazon West and Amazon East has a different chain for their warehouse. The difficulty is Visa does tens of thousands of transactions a second. Most of these blockchains are lucky if they can do 15 or 20 transactions a second. So for inventory management and chain of custody and a lot of these different, for scientific research and for a lot of things, if it costs gas and money every time you want to put something on the chain, using it as an index or a ledger or a library or a store of information becomes really expensive really quick. Cryptocurrency 3.0, where ultimately I see it and a lot of the smart people see it going, is sharding, where you end up with a whole bunch of different chains that all maintain each other. So instead of one point, you end up with dozens. So it's like torrentizing. It's like torrenting the management of blockchains. Okay. So it's like distributing technology. And it's I know. But this is where you see literally 1 million transactions per second on something like Ethereum.
Okay.
So that the scale is now
endless.
Essentially. Yeah.
That's crazy.
You could count friggin' particles, and it could keep up with you. So such an interesting technological play. It's going to touch our lives in so many ways. That's really how it works, and that's where the current understanding of value is. Of course, you see really interesting things like Gucci has just been experimenting with blockchain, where they use an RF chip in the purse.
Yeah, I was going to mention them actually.
Yeah, and what that does is every time it hits certain points on the distribution, when Alfonso finishes sewing the purse, he scans it with his badge, and it's a purse gets encrypted on the blockchain, and that also gets recorded, Alfonso, and then it goes to Tony. Tony puts it on the truck, and then it hits the airport, and then it comes to North America, and it gets scanned in by Susie in Oak Ridge, and then Tony sells it to you, and then on the receipt it says now it's yours. Right, all this information gets at all those different points through that chain of custody, gets uploaded to that blockchain in a validated way. And now anytime you want to sell me that purse later, I don't need a receipt. I don't need to check the authenticity. I just literally tap it with the back of my phone, and it pulls up the Gucci blockchain.
Yeah.
And the only people that theoretically should be able to put things on the Gucci blockchain would be Gucci.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a fraud avoidance. That's a chain of custody solution. That's
like certification or
sure.
certified.
Like I think your medical licenses, like your CPR or your first aid. I think a lot of those things will start to exist on the blockchain as well, because it's proven. Just like maybe your educational degrees will go onto the blockchain because it's validated and it's unchangeable. What we do is we do consulting for people in cryptocurrency. Okay. We teach people about how to use wallets. Yeah. We do tuning for scale farms. We come in and we tune 300 computers at once for them. Okay. We do management. We've taken over several farms recently, where we then operate them for them, introduce better security practices. And you don't have to just trade coins. You don't have to be a programmer to make money in blockchain.
That's true.
Ryan, for example, Ryan's one of our. So when we started Crypto Kings, a lot of these technologies didn't exist. The risers, the adapters for the cards, the metal racks to hold the mining computers on. Mm-hmm. We were still using normal computer towers, and we had cards all along the top of it and on the table in front of it. So we became very innovative. Yeah. So we reached out to the people around us, and they found work in blockchain. We created probably a dozen different jobs for people all around our business. And that's stuff like building computer racks and shelves. So Ryan would go get 2x4s, strip them all down, turn them into these racks, which you see at a lot of our farms. Our first $300,000 of machines we sold were on his racks that he built for us.
Oh, nice.
And now we can get the racks from China for $60. Mm-hmm. Like shipped to us 2 days on Amazon. Yeah. The industry matured. Totally. And those things became available. And what he did is he was using that money to reinvest into mining equipment and into coins. Yeah. What a healthy approach. You can never hurt your family if you approach investing like this. That's true. And so we look at this as a business. There's 100 ways to make money in blockchain. You don't have to be a programmer. You don't have to be a technical analyst. You don't have to sit in front of 6 screens reading a computer all day. You don't have to take other people's words for it. Totally. There's so many aspects to this industry right now that are just desperate for services and for software. Right? You can just simply build a company around educational resources on blockchain.
And if anybody enjoys this podcast enough where they want to send me some cryptocurrency, I will be putting my Ethereum and Bitcoin wallet address down below.
And remember, that's all going to be tracked in the future. I send $5-10 to YouTubers and podcasts all the time. Yeah. Because I know every time we get some money, it blows me away. One of the things that we've been really lucky at is we produced a Bitcoin class and a blockchain class. We produced a ton of educational outreach, a ton of really informative content for people. And we were going to put that all behind a paywall. Because it was a lot of research. One of the things that I'm still doing is like 10 hours of research every friggin' day in this friggin' industry. Yeah. Every day I'm learning new technologies. And until new exploits and new vulnerabilities and new hacks are shown, currently right now, using a hardware wallet to store your funds is almost bulletproof. It's probably the best option. But if you're trading and if you're engaging in commerce and you're selling things online, if you're If you're forward-facing like me, you're getting donations. All of that information's out there in the public. We're being audited right now. And I had to give all my Bitcoin wallets and Ethereum wallets to the Canadian government, the CRA. And I'm okay with this because we pay our taxes. And I strongly encourage anyone who does this stuff, we fucked up and we didn't account for everything until later. And it's been like 2 months of going backwards now and like trying to connect all the invoices and linking all the sales together because we kept all our tax money. We just didn't keep proper records.
Yeah.
So please keep your records. There's a lot of really neat tools now that'll let you do that.
So speaking of really bad, we're going to get into an exchange that went down that everybody has been messaging me about left, right, and center. Okay, so here's what happened with Quadriga, on my end at least. Essentially, in, I believe it was May or June of last year, I had a bunch of money that I had converted from Bitcoin to Canadian dollars, and I was moving that money from the platform to my bank account. Now, usually this process takes 3 to 5 business days. 3 to 5 business days passed, no money arrived in my bank account. 2 weeks passed, no money arrived in my bank account. After some phishing and some customer service requests and all that jazz, still no money, no contact from Quadriga. 1 month passed and finally that money arrives in my bank account. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm not ever putting money in or out of Quadriga ever again. Fast forward to about a couple weeks ago, or I guess not a couple weeks ago, it was like a month ago.
People started having issues December 14th with withdrawals.
Yeah, so Quadriga essentially goes under because the Canadian government, as well as, and this is the Supreme Court of Canada, as well as CIBC, essentially seized their assets, locked their funds because people weren't getting their money and a bunch of stuff was going on. At the same time that all this happens, randomly, the CEO of the company apparently dies.
Which had been dead for 2 weeks before they reported it.
Apparently. Now, apparent death. Nobody still, in my opinion, believes it or really knows. And the reason for this is because the death certificate came out of India.
That's not the real reason. I'll get into the real reason why it's very unlikely that he's actually
dead. Is it because the money was being pulled out of the hot
Not just the money. There's many reasons.
Okay, so long story short, no one believes that this guy is really dead. The Canadian government and the Supreme Court of Canada accountant are involved, and they are now looking at, I think they have $22 million of the however many million.
I thought they were only able to get $249,000. From my understanding, from the bank account.
Something about
$22 million is how much money of investors is currently missing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought $22 million was what they recovered. And it was like much higher.
No. They've only got $249,000 from the bank accounts.
Okay.
Locked up, and currently owing $22 million.
And now this is why I tell people to make sure, like, you know, if you're talking to me and you're connecting with me about Bitcoin and stuff, stay up to date with me, because what will happen is that I will know what's going on with Quadriga and I will stop using them, but I don't know you're using them.
We told a lot of our we had a couple clients lose money.
Yeah.
Some to the tune of 20,000 plus.
Yeah.
Because they're not reading this chat that you're involved in.
Yeah, and I told everybody that I knew that was on that platform, stop using it.
Now let me give you a different perspective.
Go for it.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is why I say auditing any aspects of these people are very important.
Yeah.
Because before we ever used Quadriga, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, I audited their company.
Yeah.
And it came up with nothing but red flags. The physical location where they were registered was only there temporarily at best. It was basically one of those little side offices in Richmond. You see all those little commercial office buildings. And there was nothing there.
Yeah.
People called them out about this on Reddit, and they talked about how it was for security. They didn't want a location, okay? But more importantly, I didn't even get that far. We got into all the wallets, and I can tell you exactly when they set up to start scam exiting, and I can tell you exactly where all the money went, because it's public ledger, my guy. Michael Patron, one of the co-founders of Quadriga.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He's not that's not his real name.
Yeah. Isn't it like the
Omar?
Yeah, brown dude.
Now we know Omar from shadow brokers. We know Omar from the dark web. I know Omar from his Midas Gold scams. I know Omar from credit card fraud and customer identity fraud on the dark web. I see him in the chat rooms. I know him from the conferences. He is a dirtball.
And
He's
he went
a
to
dirtbag.
prison. He went to jail.
On several different occasions, including the Midas Gold stuff, including the other Ponzi scheme stuff, including identity fraud. So he's done jail time for these things. So for me,
red flag.
That's it.
Yeah.
We put our hands up. Nice Hash was the same way. Nice Hash, we did the investigation in them. Nice Hash is a one-click miner that a lot of low-level miners use. I make fun of anyone who uses Nice Hash, both because it's not as profitable, but also because it's a criminal organization.
Yeah.
Their CTO, the head of technology there, had just spent 4 years in jail. He just got out of jail for malware sales online.
Okay.
Like, he literally was 4 months out of jail when they started Nice Hash for identity fraud and theft. And you're sending these people your bank accounts and your driver's license and your home address and your personal email addresses and your passwords that you might use for all your other accounts and all these other things.
Yeah.
How fucking scary is that? What was happening as of April 14th of 2018 is when money and coins would come into the company, they were sending them to places like Shapeshifter.
Okay.
And Shapeshifter charges an exorbitant fee to essentially do what's called money washing. So it's called tumbling.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's like money laundering. It's a it's a digital money laundering service.
Okay.
The only reason you would use Shapeshift is to convert one coin into another coin in a way that makes it untraceable. At a time, they were trying to provide like a currency conversion solution, but really the only people that use it are money laundering and trying to wash stolen coins.
Okay.
So what they realized that was their market, so they increased their fee quite a bit.
Okay.
Because the demand wasn't from average day users. Totally. You can now trade on the exchanges within the apps, right? You can the trading pairs. You can trade Bitcoin to just about any coin now.
Yeah.
Or even things like Ethereum to Ripple or Litecoin to Ripple. You can, So they were sending all the money that came in were going to several different exchanges and places like Shapeshifter to convert the money. At that point, they never ever had 100 Bitcoins in their wallets. There was never 100 Bitcoins.
Okay.
There was never the accountable money. So unless there's cold storage wallets that haven't been connected, I can't audit anything that exists. It's all bullshit. And some other really interesting things that have happened since it. So in the 2 years prior to his quote-unquote death, back in December.
Yeah.
Okay. His wife has changed their name 3 times.
Okay.
She owns 14 homes in Canada under 3 different declared names, all in 2 years. And you have to declare a name change, so it has to go in the paper and things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the Canadian way to change. So like 11 of the homes, or 7 of them are at Nova Scotia, the East Coast.
Okay.
So why would you change your name 3 times in a year? And why would you want to own property under all those different names? So there's also cash just sitting around in bank accounts that's under her control now that she can use essentially for anything she wants. Not only that, but this whole dying from dysentery, the Crohn's disease he died from, it's like a 2%, 1% death rate. So it's very abnormal that anyone would die from this. Of course, there's inconsistencies in the death certificate. The name was actually spelt wrong on it. The part of India where it happened, he was well known. Is a well-known place for faking deaths and doing identity fraud in this nature. And also, you have to appreciate that his partner was involved with identity fraud and theft, co-founder of the business, and still is to this day heavily involved in this industry. So it's almost like they were being coached for a very long time how to accumulate all these assets, get this money out of the company, and then disappear. Do you think suggesting to average users to leave money on exchanges is a good idea?
I'm not suggesting anything to an average user.
Do you think
I'm not suggesting anything to anybody.
Okay.
Let me be clear on that. What I do is on me, right?
Yeah.
You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want.
I strongly suggest,
so
after working with hundreds of clients in the space and hearing them speak to me the exact same way about how confident and secure and all of their practices are, and then it all disappears overnight. Poof.
Dude, I understand that risk.
Right.
Though,
so for me, I say leave your money in hardware wallets unless you're trading.
Yeah. That's... Dude,
for the majority of people.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I have my hard wallet, right? And I have My online exchange.
But you have to leave money in exchanges to do buy and sell orders.
This is what I was going to get into. So people are probably wondering, well, Mahyar, if you have a wallet, why would you leave it on the exchange? Because, yeah. Well, here's why. Because on the exchange, I could preset a buy order and a sell order, meaning I could say, hey, I want to buy Bitcoin at this price. Let's say the price I want to buy is $3,000. And Bitcoin is right now at $4,000. I don't know when Bitcoin's going to hit 3,000. It could be tomorrow. It could be 2 weeks from now. But I would really like it
if it was automated.
If it was automated. So if it just bought it at that price when I claimed it. Now, in order for that to happen, I have to have that amount of Bitcoin or that amount of cash on the platform already there, because it's going to hold it. It's going to say, okay, we're taking this, we're putting it on a hold, and it's going to sit here, and as soon as it hits that price, we're buying.
And what's the rule? We have to treat all of that money like it's as good as gone in the first place.
Yes.
Okay, go. But right? As long as you have that,
yeah.
Then you can't ever get burned, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I set a stop loss so that if it goes below a 2% rate of what I want to buy at or whatever, it sells it.
When I say that you have to treat all money in cryptocurrency like it's already gone, it's because there is no legal recourse. They could just close shop tomorrow and keep everything.
Yeah.
The chances that you're ever going to get your money back are slim to nil at best.
Yeah.
I have to keep emphasizing this.
Dude, I agree with you. You'll, in some cases, luck out in the sense, for example, Binance, which is one of the higher, prestigious platforms. Really, it's probably one of the top used ones, if not the top 3.
It's the number one exchange.
Number one, there you go. Number one exchange.
As far as volume.
Binance got hacked, I think maybe more than once. But every time Binance has been hacked, they have out of their own pocket paid the people who lost dollars. So if some coin got hacked, I think it was Nem coin.
There was a smart contract exploit that allowed double spending. So essentially, you would send the coin and then buy the token, but then you would keep receiving the token for that value. It was a double spend it. It was called a recall attack.
Okay.
And so it just kept recalling, and they were able to essentially take all of the NEM that way.
Yeah.
And then they were able to reverse that and get a whole bunch of Ethereum and one other coin out using the same technique.
Yeah. So what happened in that case? Binance did return funds to all the people who lost their NEM coin or whatever it was. So,
but hold on.
Point being is that if you do keep your money on exchange, right? Make sure you do it with an exchange that will at least or has a track record of, even if they've been hacked, has a track record of sort of insuring their customers.
At best, that's a pipe dream. Keep that also in mind.
Totally.
Right. Certainly those are the better ones to go with.
Yeah, but exactly. That's my point.
But we could talk about some of Binance's business practices, which give me the friggin' heebie-jeebies out like no other.
Okay.
So let's talk about the getting listed on Binance.
Okay.
So you got a brand new coin, you want to get listed on Binance. They have admitted that the conversation goes, well, what do you got? Mm-hmm. How much? Mm-hmm. How much you want to pay me?
Well, yeah. Of course.
There's no standardization to that. That money... Oh. That money was a slush fund. Okay. They were getting as much as millions of dollars to get listed. Yeah, get your coin on Binance.
I don't see a problem with that.
Well, no. What there should be, if this is a true entity, if this is a legitimate entity, if this is accountable, if this is something that they want to be sustainable, that type of from the hip, quick, loose bullshit doesn't fly for very long. It's the same reason Bitmain is going under. It's ultimately to your own detriment by being quick and loose. Mm. And so they were having these conversations with people. Okay, so how much? Well, no, how much? And then they would just ignore people if it wasn't enough in their mind. So,
well, yeah, dude, I would do the same thing.
Well, it should be. Well, yeah, but that's not how I would do it. And, I know. My business practices are far more sustainable than theirs in that same manner. I get it. So hold on. It gets far worse.
Okay.
So Binance gets called on this publicly.
Yeah.
People start exposing these conversations. Mm-hmm. People start recording these engagements with these reps. It all becomes public. These conversations come out.
Okay.
And it's fucking shady as hell. it's shady business practices at best.
I wouldn't call that shady.
It's like the Turkish business. It's like the Turkish merchant I met when I was in Istanbul.
Dude, exactly.
The rug sold for 3 different prices to 3 different people. It's the same fuck.
Exactly.
Yes, but in a market where you have high turnover, and you're not going to see your business again, game theory applies. Sure, take the edge. And that's what they're doing. They're taking the edge.
Yeah.
But these are not one-time people they're engaging with. If you look at game theory and apply that to their business practices, they're failing the game theory test. Because what they're doing is they're burning those relationships out the gate. They're taking advantage of people step 1. Right?
Yeah.
And as much as they can take advantage
of that taking advantage of people, man.
By taking as much money as they can.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Because look, I'm an exchange. You got a coin. Dude, I'm the number 1 top exchange in the world.
Yeah, so ask me how that works. Well, there's fees associated with listing it. And there's marketing that we need to do associated with it.
Yeah.
And there's changes we need to make to our website and back end. So that's where my fee would come from. It's not a, hey, how much you got?
Yeah, but if
that's bullshit.
Look, it's bullshit to you, but
no. The whole world called it bullshit.
No, fair.
The exposés hit.
The exposés hit.
And so they changed their business policies because it's bullshit and because it was reflecting badly on their business practices.
Okay, fair.
So what happens? No,
so they made good.
No,
is what you're saying.
This is where it gets much worse.
Okay, go for it.
This is where it gets real sinister.
Okay.
This is where that questionable business practice turns into fraud and criminal activity.
Okay, let's hear it.
So for public image, to restore their image, they say, we're investing all of this coin listing money into a charity.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can have your opinion.
Yeah. Wait, this is fact, right?
This is fact.
Like sources.
Yes. No. This is public news. This is all listed. Okay. So you have your opinion, but understand the industry at large disagrees.
Yeah.
So much so that they had to go into critical emergency recovery mode and literally eliminate this channel of revenue, which you think is completely reasonable, and I think is complete bullshit. So then they hire this sketchy ass woman who's actually been charged criminally for fraud from charities. She's not allowed to operate charities in several different countries now.
Yeah.
Because the countries have closed because of all the fraud associated with it.
Okay.
So all this money that's now going into this charity fund is going to these incredibly sketchy charities that are getting shut down left, right, and center as I'm speaking with you.
Okay.
For illegal activities with the funds. So what's actually happening is all this charity money is being funneled into more slush funds. So yes, there is sketchy business practices. There is fraud. There is manipulation. There's exploitation of charities going on. Okay? It is as China hustle as the China hustle can be.
Yeah.
And the people involved are shady characters. She doesn't pass the smell test. The other guy running the foundation doesn't pass the smell test. Now, you're hearing this from me first. Okay?
Yeah.
You will hear about this throughout the news all month.
Okay.
You will hear about the charities being shut down. You will hear about the questionability of where these funds are actually going, and how bad this actually is getting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think that this could be the nail in the coffin. I think that this is like Bitmain. I think that these business practices can't be sustained. I think that this type of behavior in the market, it's great if you're game theory. It's great if you're the merchant selling rugs to the tour bus from Japan in Istanbul. Because you're never going to see those guys again. But if you want to maintain relationships both with people in this industry and the people who you're directly working with, you can't when people.
I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. But when something's new, when it's a new business, and when we're looking to make a profit, how much you got?
I mentioned earlier that we wrote all those classes and did all the educational content.
Yeah.
We did the premium signals. We have the chat groups, all the different clubs.
Yeah.
We were going to put all that behind a paywall. But the only other people that were doing that at the time were these hype boys, these coin shellers, these ICO guys.
Yeah.
How many of them are still around right now?
Not many.
Yeah. Literally all of them are gone.
Yeah.
If they're, buy this coin. Buy into this ICO. Yeah. Here's my affiliate links. I was smart enough to look at those business practices and see that they were toxic and they were unsustainable. So what did we do? We sent all our information and videos for free.
Of course.
We did all that outreach for free.
Yeah.
Now, all the old timers, all the dinosaurs around me are going, you're giving out advice every day for free. Companies in Brazil are calling me for blockchain perspectives, all sorts of wild shit. Everybody gets one free. Now, that has led to the sustainability and goodwill of our company. Yeah. There's no one walking around talking about the shady business practices of the crypto case.
Yeah, look, I'm not even debating that. Okay, that's the same model that Gary Vaynerchuk follows. That's the same model. A lot of people follow that freemium model, right? Even apps follow a model like that. Sure. We'll give you the product, and if you
the exchange is free. It's a freemium model.
Yeah. So that's just a form of business practice.
So what you're saying is that what you're saying is that's okay. You're okay with the companies you're putting your money into.
It's their company. That's the thing.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, okay. You don't have to be, and I don't have to be. If a company has a model where they're one of the top exchange, if not, as we said, the top exchange in the world, okay, and you want to be part of their platform, and their response to you is, well, how much money you got?
So offense. Sounds like antitrust. Sounds like monopolization.
No, it sounds like success. Sounds like you've reached a point where, like, you don't need the coin. The coin needs you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand. Right? But then the whole industry backlashes against them. They backtrack on this behavior. So clearly the industry at large disagrees with your perspective.
You're right on
they get
that.
caught up in a scandal where they're stealing money from charities as a solution to the backlash to the poor business practices they were using. It's all red flags to me. I cannot see how you can maintain a good opinion about a business that's behaving this way.
I'm not saying that it's a good opinion. What I'm saying is, if a business chooses to run that way, and
like Microsoft did with Office,
and they're number one,
and then the Supreme Courts took them down, hit them with an antitrust monopolization
but
lawsuit.
That's regulated.
Split up the company.
That's all through regulate. So goes to my point.
Do you think Binance will survive regulation? Yes. Regulation's coming.
Yeah,
I don't think they will.
I think they have enough.
Bitmain didn't survive regulation. That's why they fell apart.
Bitmain had massive issues, though. Binance, dude, you gotta understand. We are talking about a platform that has given away Lamborghinis on their website.
When you called Binance and asked them you wanted to develop, or Bitmain, and you wanted to develop an ASIC, how do you think the conversation over there went?
I don't know.
Well, what do you got? How much you got?
Sure.
Yeah. And what happened to Bitmain?
Yeah, dude, as you said, things changed, right?
What I'm seeing is the nails in the coffin for Binance. I'm seeing more and more negative news, which is I can audit and confirm is true. Yeah. I'm seeing more scandals, and I'm seeing more people every day exposing those guys in that company for at the worst, or at the best way to put it, is poor business practices. That's the nicest way to put it. Essentially, the decentralized exchanges will do away with all of this bullshit. All of these fees for listing, and all of these charity organizations and coin. Like, it's been proven that a lot of these exchanges were just printing tether that wasn't backed. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of exchanges that keep $1 in the bank for every $1 in cryptocurrency that you're holding. They've got $1 in fiat. Mm-hmm. It's fully auditable. It's like these stable coins. If you can't show that you have the money, then how can you say that it's backed? It's complete bullshit. Mm. It's as transparent as hiring an auditor to come in and look at the statements and put their thumb up. And Tether has failed that every single time, both from the feds and privately, and external audits. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not. Tether has said that they have investments in other things like coins and exchange. What they're saying is they don't have the cash on hand to cover this stuff. Mm-hmm. So when you've got companies like Binance doing the BNB coin and doing Tether and being producers of it, and now they're going to the IEO, which is the initial exchange offering, which is the ICO model, but instead of needing an Ethereum token, it's all done through the exchange. Okay. Now the hope is the exchange audits and validates the application in industry and audits the team and makes sure all these team members aren't fraudulent. But I can promise you, when it's about how much money you got over at Binance, they're not going to be doing proper audits on IEOs. They're not concerned about you losing your money. Mm-hmm. They're concerned about putting money in their own pocket.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Sure.
I'm not denying anything you're saying.
So this IEO thing scares the shit out of me too, because it's the same as the Greek bankers.
Yeah.
It's so sketchy. It is the polar opposite of what blockchain and decentralized currency is supposed to be about. It's supposed to have a financial value and a merit and an application. Bitcoin only works because you can buy a house with Bitcoin. You understand? Because you can send it to dozens of different places and they will deposit cash into your bank account. That's what makes Bitcoin work. Okay? When you use these IEOs, when you use these Binance coins, when you use these other things, you're then centralizing the distribution model. You can only go to one guy to get your money back. You follow me?
Yeah. But it only makes sense for an exchange that big to want to have their own coin.
Yes, it makes sense to
and it lowers
steal
the transaction
and cheat
fees.
and take charity money and...
Yeah, you keep bringing that... Okay, the charity money, okay, and that steal... Because here's what I see, and here's why. Okay, I'll tell you why.
Literally, they're way out of the industry's perspective. Was to steal charity money.
Let me explain.
That shows right there their interest.
In an industry that's not regulated yet... Dude, the same could be said for the internet back in 1990.
It's a Wild West, yes.
Yeah, so
yes,
what do you expect, right? Like, people are making their shit up as they go. And then when things get regulated and you know, there are loopholes in laws and things that they're working around, that's probably, the whole charity thing that you bring about is probably 100%, in my opinion, a loophole law for their tax.
But you have to appreciate the motivation behind that.
Good.
Instead of doing good,
yeah.
Instead of taking all these people's money that were using bad business practice that the industry is looking negatively at,
yeah.
Instead of turning it into a good guy biker moment and creating real goodwill for your company and creating real goodwill for the industry, it becomes another headline on CNBC about how the largest entity in blockchain is stealing people's money and stealing charities' money. It is toxic.
I hear you.
To everything about the industry.
I hear you, but my side of it is that this is all fucking new, and these people are doing what they think is...
they can get away with.
Yeah. It's like you and I are talking...
That's two perspectives.
Hold on. You and I are talking, and it's like, dude, we're going to have to give up like $25 million to our taxes or whatever. And then you say, yeah, except look what I found. There's this loophole thing here that says if we give it up to a charity and blah, 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 we get to keep 3/4 of it. And it says the charity could be owned by our own company or whatever. Right? Like, I don't know the logistics of the laws of what they do. You know what I mean?
Certainly pretty far from how it works.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like,
but yes,
in an unregulated situation, I can't assume that what they were doing was based on purely... personal illegitimate satisfaction as opposed to business practice that might end up saving them money, and it's a loophole and it works.
They're setting up this whole business in a way of laundering money. It's the motivation behind the practice. It's the intent. Yes, of course, it's the Wild West. Make all your money. And that's going to happen in the business industry too. Those shady behaviors, those questionable characters, as regulation comes into the industry, as mass adoption comes in, as more traditional forces, as the big banks, and as Facebook, and as Fidelity, and all these other large entities move into the industry, all those people behaving that way are going to get pushed out into the woods by themselves.
I don't deny that.
There's not going to be any room for them.
I don't deny that, and I think that just comes with regulations.
Sure.
So of course, and that is my entire point: is that you are under the vision of regulatory system. You know, regulated. Everything is structured. Everything.
Let me be
ready.
Clear. I think it will become more regulated before we reach true decentralization. Because people can't be their own bankers. Because there's too much fraud. Because there's people stealing from charities. Once this all gets smoothed out, once you can go somewhere with your passport and get your coins back, this is when it will become fully decentralized. The tools, the industry, the maturity, the accountability, the technology will be mature enough that risk can be passed down to the individual. But before we hit that, we will see far more centralization. Instead of Cryptopia and Quadriga and Binance, stupid fucking spaceship names, what kind of... You think my dad wants to buy into Cryptopia? It sounds. It's no. He wants to buy into Brink's Asset Management or Lehman Brothers Firm and Investing or like this for real.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a lot of these things become more traditional in their naming and in their policies and practices. And the traditional banks scare the shit out of me. They're worse than stealing money from charity. They literally pay the lobbyists to make all these loopholes so they can take all this money. What Google does, not paying a single dollar in taxes, what Apple does is 100% legal. It's only legal because they spent hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying local governments and different bodies to change the laws so they can get away with this stuff. And those things are set up so that the has and the learned can use those advantages. It's designed so that you got to have a certain legal understanding to access these loopholes. It's designed that way. So that everybody else gets fucked. Right? So I'm not saying that the centralization is going to be a good thing either. It's going to be real sketchy. But it's going to result in a lot more adoption. Okay?
Yeah. Totally.
And through that process, a lot of these guys are going to disappear. A lot of these players will get pushed out.
I think beyond exchanges, mainly coins are going to disappear.
And if you ask me, players like Ethereum are going to be around. And players like Tron, Tron has been far outside of the medium for Bitcoin. Tron, Ripple, and the BitTorrent ICO and all these other ones that came out, they're making far more gains than Bitcoin currently in the bear market.
In fact, that being said, let's transition into our coins of choice is what I like to call it. And wait, before I say anything, what we're going to say is not here for you to listen and go throw your money into.
This is not legal financial advice.
No, not at all.
We are not registered financial advisors.
These are what we call our predictions of the game players who will more than likely do best in the future. And what we'll cover is like sort of the main coins, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then onwards to those subcoins and altcoins of choice. And you could even include tokens, like you brought up BitTorrent token, which let's start with that because I completely agree with you. And this is why I loved BNB. To me, BitTorrent token is last year's BNB or this year's BNB, meaning what Binance coin was last year
to the market prospectively, not application
is what BitTorrent token is today. That being said, so the reason why I like BitTorrent token is one, its users aren't going anywhere, right? They have a huge following. People use BitTorrent in general all the time, but the main reason is because the person who bought BitTorrent is the same guy who owns Tron, right?
Justin Sun.
Yeah.
Who I think is a goofy douchebag.
He is. But he has a lot of capital. And that capital, like, yes, he does. You got to understand,
and he has a huge platform.
Yeah. And you got to understand, this isn't a guy who's going to buy a business or buy a coin or release something and have it just go to nothing. Right? This is a guy who, if this
uses
coin,
hype and bullshit and partners with everybody
and has money, has shit ton of money.
Let's talk application.
Okay.
So the BitTorrent coin is essentially designed to pay people for something that people have been doing for free forever.
Yeah.
Okay, which is sharing files.
Yeah.
Now, most of those files, would you consider them to be legal or illegal files?
Illegal.
So let's just step back here.
Yeah.
From a macro business perspective, if you go to a bank, say, so what's your company do? Oh, we pay people to share copyright infringing and stolen property.
You can't say that though.
But it's okay. Listen, that's the reality. You can look at it any other way, but the real life application and the real life how it's really being used.
Yeah.
When you reduce it to what's actually going on. They're paying people...
If you're reducing it to 90% of what's going on.
Sure.
Is what I'll say.
Far more than 90% of token or BitTorrent.
Let's even say 99%.
Sure.
But you still have to give...
the credence to that 1%.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But do you think that there's going to be traditional bodies outside? The people who have the business and financial understanding and the experience? Yeah. You think they're going to be able to attract educated and long-facing CEOs and administrative staff when you can reduce the business application to paying people for sharing stolen content? I don't know, man. It doesn't...
Listen, I told you. I'm not married to any given coin. I'm not here to be like, the application of BitTorrent token it's going to be the future. Fuck Bitcoin, blah, blah. I'm not saying any of that ever to any coin.
And I'm always saying that.
Yeah, and that's
our difference.
That's where you and I differ. Because
Right.
I'm in it for essentially the swings and the trades.
I'm in it for informing people.
Exactly. You're in it for the application.
Yeah,
okay?
and keeping mass adoption healthy.
Yeah, I'm in it to make money. Like, I'm essentially in it to make money.
When you're making money,
yeah,
someone's losing money.
Fair.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
That's fair. That's
right?
100% fair.
Right.
Yeah.
So the difficulty is, if you're not doing anything to usher in more acceptance, more knowledge, which you are. This podcast is a prime example of where you can offset your financial gains by putting value back in the community.
Yeah.
Because let's be serious. We've both taken a lot of money from stupid people. People buy in at the highs and get exhausted and selling at the lows. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Or people are using their life finances. They're mortgaging their homes. You hear about these people on Twitter.
Yeah,
I mortgaged $270,000 against my house. Well, that is bullshit business practices. Mm-hmm. That's not thinking properly.
Yeah.
Because we do all these services and then reinvest that money. Because we take our time and our knowledge and our information and bring that back in. We're at no loss.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's just for me, it's all about the tech. It's all that's where the longest winners are going to be. Mm-hmm. Is the people who focus, and you don't have to hold coins. You can invest in companies working out on blockchain. Yeah. You could start a service business around blockchain. Yeah. You can leverage an emerging industry in more ways than you and I can even conceive in a year's time. Because the possibilities are endless.
I hear you.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like the things that the internet has done to society and industry and education and finances and economics and tourism and world trade and all these other things for just quality of life and safety and stability worldwide has gone up because of the internet. Because everything is now exposed, right? So everything has exposure, and we get to have that global consensus on if something's good or not.
I will say I will never go into ICOs, so never ask me about an ICO because I'll just say no to all of them.
Or what about these IEOs, these exchange
offers? Anything that's an I and an O at the end.
So STO, taking an Apple stock and tokenizing it on Ethereum and then selling those assets. So you, as someone in Iran, can't own Apple stocks in America because you can't invest more than $5,000 because of the regulatory measures. You have to be able to show that income for 5 years before you can invest into a lot of these things. Totally. So an STO allows you to buy into real estate or stocks or equity without having to be validated.
Totally.
But of course, it takes all the regulation away as well. Yeah. So it just
tit for tat. But okay, so
no STO, no IEO, no ICO.
No ICO.
Okay, except for BitTorrent. BitTorrent was an ICO.
BitTorrent, because it's still a token. The difference between why I went into BitTorrent token, right, and none of these other ICOs and all that jazz, is because BitTorrent token is officially now on Binance too, right? Like it's on a platform just like Skycoin, which is rare, right? We don't see many actual tokens on there until they're actually ready to go mainnet.
Really fleshed out. Yeah.
So.
Which again is another red flag for me when I see Binance working closely with Justin Sun, introducing these IEOs and these ICOs, and their relationship. When I see Binance relationship growing with the sketchiest players in the space to release these sketchy, speculative, unregulated STOs, ICOs, and IEOs, that's what I see is Binance getting in bed with those shady characters more and more every time on a regular basis. And Justin Sun is a prime example of that.
Okay.
Because they're bed buddies all over the place now. Yeah. You see them at the conferences talking to each other. They're being interviewed all the time.
Yeah, of course.
They're shutting each other out on Twitter.
Totally.
Justin Sun just shit all over ETH and it got retweeted by Binance when everybody knows that's monkey bullshit.
Yeah.
Tech-wise.
I hear you.
So...
Okay, so that being said, I'm in on BTT.
And you're up.
BitTorrent token. I'm up.
So why didn't you sell?
Because I want it to go higher.
Looking at the token the way it is right now, it's deviated outside of the standard market by many deviations.
Okay.
By multiple deviations. It's seeing opposite behavior of the regular market. So I don't see it going up much more,
higher.
if any.
Yeah.
I see it coming back down and then starting to connect to the rest of the markets.
Okay.
It's funny, mainnets, DevCons, launches, you would suspect that these would increase the value.
It decreases.
Well, with this traditional market, when you bring the iPhone or the GoPro 7 to the market, the stocks pump. The problem with a lot of these companies is they're not spending the amount of time on the work to justify the funds or investments or application they're working towards.
I hear you.
So it becomes all smoke and mirrors.
No, I hear you. So this is why in BitTorrent token...
Hold on. The coin that pays people for sharing illegal content.
You got it.
Well, I'm being funny here.
No, that's honest and whatever. But the reason why I went into it was because of the owner, or the guy, I guess, who created it, right? Yeah. Because he has so much capital, and because he already has another coin, I don't see him allowing this coin
like
to
Charlie,
die,
though,
for
he
example.
sold something like 80% of his Tron holdings. He holds very little Tron now.
Yeah, sure, right?
like
But
Charlie
my
sold
point,
off
my
all his
point
Litecoin.
is, capital wise, like he has the capital to hold the coin on its own if he
And
needs
that's
to,
why.
right?
You asked me, that's a smart thing. Selling off your coins at the top, that's good business practice. You agreeing that they should ask for what they can get, that's good business dealings in the short term.
Yeah.
Right? Let me be nice about it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I like to play devil's advocate, and I want you all to appreciate this whole time I play devil's advocate. I do like these projects. I think there's a lot of paces to make money. I think you can buy and sell shit coins day to day and make a killing. We're holding different perspectives on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
and that's important for the viewers.
Totally.
So that they can vet different options.
Yeah.
Because I'm not right. I'm
Neither
right
am
in
I.
some ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
But every time you make $1 I don't, you're right in some ways too.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So when we look at BitTorrent token, the difficulty with torrents and torrenting is actually getting people to share the internet, to provide that content out to people, to allow people to down. Because you remember when they were sending letters to people? Warner Brothers would send you a lawsuit for $200,000 because they caught you down. Because what they would do is they would turn on computers that were hosting the movies in full format, and they recorded all the people that connected to their computer and downloaded the movie.
Yeah.
And now, none of them held up in court because they couldn't prove you downloaded the whole movie.
Okay.
Because the way torrents work, you download parts of it from many people. The problem is, there's been legal threats to people made for sharing these torrents. Your internet service providers, we were unlimited for a long time, and now unlimited comes in quotes, and they're trying to charge you more money for your data all the time.
Totally.
Data has almost gotten more expensive than less expensive. It's fucked. This is the monopolization stuff in the Canadian industry showing its face. But this incentivates people to share. Okay?
Yeah.
Previously, the only way we had to do that was private groups. So if you shared a certain amount per month or per week, you were able to get into these lists of these torrents that were shared exclusively in these circles.
Okay.
So you could get the more shady stuff, or you could get the movies that were still in theater, or you could get the more expensive software cracked, AutoCAD or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could get it a lot faster because these people were unthrottled. They were allowing it to download at 2 megabytes a second from their computer. Okay. So the incentive was formerly that you were able to access more stuff, or you were able to do it faster.
Okay.
But that, a day, and most people just turn a bunch of torrents on and leave it and come back and it's all done.
Yeah.
They're not so concerned about instantaneous use of what they're trying to get at.
Totally.
Right? They're not looking for instant gratification. But what's happened over the last few years is people have stopped sharing those files. A lot less people share a lot less files. It's not as popular as it once used to be. And that's because of things like iTunes and Netflix and all these centralized models. People want to pay for their content.
Yeah.
I want to pay a band to go check out their concert. I don't want to listen to their music and decide it's bullshit and have paid $15 for it.
Yeah.
So for me, I watch movies. I download games, cracked. I and then I pay for it if I like it. If I listen to an audiobook and it's a good audiobook, I buy the book and I put it in my collection. Every time.
Yeah.
And I think most people want to pay for their content.
Yeah.
And so Netflix and things ended up being a really good solution. The market ultimately was really hungry for a centralized sharing platform. So which is why you see the application and the user base on BitTorrent and torrents in general drop. Of course, the government's gotten better at regulation. They've gotten more sophisticated, and they've made more partners with companies like Shaw and Bell and TELUS and Verizon. So now Bell and Shaw and TELUS has actually blocked the Pirate Bay or these different torrenting websites from the internet service provider level. And that's only done through government encouragement, right? So there's also regulations now entering the torrent space, and there's a lot more control mechanisms that didn't exist before, where they can make it more difficult to be involved.
Yeah.
So this idea of paying people to share makes a lot of sense. It's going to bring more interest, and it's going to bring more audience, and it's going to result in better experiences for everyone on the network. It will only result in more sharing. There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it will only result in more people sharing more things more times. Because they will be receiving an incentive.
Yeah.
A direct financial incentive, perhaps, if it maintains its value by any means.
Next coin up is going to be, for me, BNB, which is the Binance coin. It's shared off the exchange. It reduces the trading fees, such if you trade through BNB instead of BTC, you get a lower rate. Binance is the top used exchange.
Number one exchange.
Yeah.
Now, the BNB
world,
is a token which is created and printed at will by Binance, which makes it really sketchy that it has any value.
Not really, because obviously if
it maintains its
used,
application.
Exactly.
But it's like fiat currency in that they can print it at will.
Okay.
Which is where it goes away from blockchain philosophy.
Most coins are capped. They're limited, right? So even Bitcoin, there's a finite.
But you talk about things like Ripple or BNB.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah.
They can be, because it's centralized, they could say it's 21 million, and 3 months from now they can change it. Because they're the full authorship.
Yeah.
Right? So even if they say it's limited, it's not actually fucking limited. Look at Bitcoin Cash. They just doubled the supply of Bitcoin. Like, quite literally. So, in some senses, in perspectives. So, BNB coin, great. Serves a great application. And I knew it was going to increase in value. I knew throughout the bear market, it was going to be one of the only places that retained its value.
I think it was the only to be.
Yeah, it may be a couple ICOs and a couple projects. Stuff like Raven and some things have done well throughout the bear market. But it's got great application. But where it falls apart for me as a coin and an investment and a holding is in that it's centralized, it's printed at will, and it's only maintained to a single entity.
But that's the same for all currencies.
No, I can go to any bank. I can go to any bank
Not
with any kind of
cryptocurrencies.
currency.
I'm saying regular currencies.
But you can't trade BNB anywhere else. So if Binance ever goes offline, the coins lose all of their application. So if anything from federal regulation
I agree with
to
that.
Getting shut down to the CEO being held up at gunpoint, fails the smell test for me because it's centralized and it's printed at will.
Okay. It's done well for me.
From a financial perspective. And from an application perspective.
Yeah.
And as long as Binance exists,
it's good.
And they're willing to use BNB tokens, it should provide some value to trading.
Yeah.
But again, I would never say leave any money in there long term. Although if you did all year, you'd be up. And I told all my clients that are trading, day traders, I tell them all to buy $100, $200 in Binance and leave that in the account to fuel their trades. Yeah, because that reduces your cost of trading on Binance.
Yeah, like I'll say this much: I've been buying in and out of Binance. Like
you've been trading the coin.
Yeah. Oh, I've been waiting on swings and then selling as a peak would happen and then a drop and then buy back, whatever. It served me well. Another one that served me well, doing the exact same thing.
Let's just acknowledge it's the Greek IOU.
No, I won't acknowledge that.
Why? It's the bankers. The bankers were providing a financial service.
Here's the thing, though.
And hold on.
Yeah.
instead of giving you a discount on trading, they gave you a physical quality. Okay, so gold is really fucking heavy. Mm-hmm. Paper is far easier to trade and do commerce with.
Yeah.
So the Greek banks that were giving you the IOUs, they're providing an economic trading. It's no different than the BNB coin. In its discount. It's just not a financial discount, but it affects your life. You get to travel lighter. You need less workload. You don't need assistance. It's far less risky.
Yeah.
It literally reduces the cost of commerce.
Yeah.
Just like the BNB
in exchange
token.
for the risk of.
And what happened to the Greek bankers?
Its own coin.
It all fell apart. And what happens every time they start writing IOUs?
Yeah.
It always falls apart. This happens every time, my brother.
But Binance isn't writing IOUs. You know what I mean? They're not writing
They're creating
IOUs.
the tokens out of... There's no coins backing
That's fine, but what that's doing, that's only affecting the coin's valuation. You know that, right? So when they create more coins, it just reduces the value of the coin. Okay? That's like the premise, right?
That's the premise.
Okay?
That's the thought.
So I have no problem with them creating their more coins and having the valuation get lower slightly for whatever reason that they choose to do that. Obviously, they do that based on their own analytics and everything that they decide to do, right? I'm not gonna mess with that. What I'm looking at,
or they do it to make money.
Yeah, here is a coin or a token that is doing something. It has an application that works. It's on a
single exchange,
very centralized. That is like the number one platform that everybody who trades crypto trades off of. It only makes sense to be into Binance Coin, especially if it's reducing your trade fees. You know, so that's. But
it is a Greek IOU.
Most cryptocurrencies, the value is based off the fact that it has users. Forget scarcity.
Sure.
Users is what makes it happen, right? You need
application.
The users. Yeah.
It's liquid.
Okay. So if we go to your freemium model that we were talking about before, Google provided a search bar. Okay? When they were nothing.
Yep.
They said, we're going to help you search through the internet.
Yep.
They still do provide you with a free service. They have other services now that aren't free, right? Like Google Ads and all that.
But that's a technology. Right? It's not a finance.
No, okay, dude. Our cryptocurrencies are also a form of technology.
Representing finances.
I know, but listen, this is where I get into finance. Google is worth shit unless people like you and me visit it every day and type in and search through Google. Okay?
Yes and no. They own a ton of technology and they have a ton of intellectual property. They have many applications in government and military. They provide contracts to the military.
But you are talking about the now. I am talking about the when. So when they first started. Sure. You could even use Yahoo if you want. Ask Jeeves as a bad example of what not to do. Okay? Google, same method. They provided a search engine that worked quite well, and enough people would go there, which then increased the valuation of the company. Okay? That's why they're Google. Right? But they weren't Google because they had this other thing, and then they added the search, and then blah, blah, blah.
Well, let me make it clear.
They provided
They're
the free
only
product.
Google because they diversified. What happened to Ask Jeeves and all of those other players in the
Before they diversified, though, they were just search. You remember this. They were they were on top when they were just search.
So how many billions of dollars does your company have to be worth before you start diversifying?
Well, that's the thing. When you get that capital, now I have a shit ton of money. Of course I'm going to start doing different things. Just like me, if I invest in something, and I make money off of it, I take that money and I reinvest.
Try to make more money with it.
Make more. Yeah, that's just a normal,
you go wider.
A normal practice. So my point is that, just like Google, its usership is the value. Okay? So if I see that here's a platform that has every user that knows crypto uses Binance. To say that they don't would be far-fetched because almost, I would say 99% of crypto traders at least use Binance or are familiar with it. If that application is there and it's cycling in a product, let's say like Google, that is a search engine, and it's cycling in this system, and that system doesn't seem to be going anywhere and is still on the top of the edge, there's no reason why I wouldn't put into Google Coin.
So, okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, but you understand. So, Google Coin, Visa Coin, Facebook Coin.
Yeah.
They're not cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Just like BNB isn't cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Because it isn't decentralized.
Yeah. I understand.
It isn't a cryptocurrency.
I understand.
You can't call it a cryptocurrency.
Token.
And pretend
whatever.
No, but
I understand what you're saying.
It's no more a token than an inventory list in a computer for how many fucking social points you got for drinking beers at the beer club.
Okay, cool. But at the end of the day,
you're going to trust your money in that.
No, at the end of the day, it provides a perk, right? In a form of value with
a
the
very
system behind
centralized perk. It's not like Bitcoin, which you could then take to 100 other places and use. It's only exchangeable in one place by one entity for one purpose.
100%. But that one place is where I'm getting all the other coins anyway.
Okay.
Do you see?
So
it's like saying, well, the Google only allows you to search on Google. You still have Yahoo and all this other stuff, but people will always go to Google. So you're right.
But there's a lot of merits and value into
that.
Not using places like Google for accessing other information. It's been shown, like during the politics, the Hillary Clinton stuff popping up on Google and all the other sketchy stuff, the search results. So the problems that Google has as the central location for searching, Binance has as the central location for finances.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Like I'm
here. I'm here as an evangelist for the technology.
Yeah.
I want to get away from the banks. I want to get away from Facebook Coin.
Okay.
That stuff is the cancer of society that has led to all this corruption and fat and fraud and theft of the everyday person. Blockchain will enter almost everything.
Yeah.
And what it will remove is the IOU bullshit that the BNB coin, that Ripple, and that all these other stable coins that aren't backed, that these printed fiat currencies are, all these Ponzi schemes that exist, it can't exist on blockchain because it's all accountable. And that accountability is not there. Not only is it not there, you don't even really know the structure of its accountability.
Of course.
To me, that scares the shit out of me that anyone would, because that you're missing the whole point of the technology. You're just interested in making money.
No, I'm not. I understand exactly what they're doing with BNB.
It's the Greek IOUs. It's literally the Greek IOUs.
I get what you're saying. You're looking at Binance like it's a fucking country, and it's not. The same way another company would be valued through usership. Okay? BitTorrent could be one of those companies. Okay?
Sure.
Usership.
Sure.
Right? Netflix, usership.
Sure.
Okay? YouTube, usership.
Yeah.
Okay? These are all companies that in some way either provide you a limited amount of things for free or will give you a 1 month free trial, or in the end they provide you, like here's a digital thing that doesn't exist that you could pay us for monthly or
what
not
you're talking
all,
to
whatever,
is like
right?
entertainment though.
No, digital
what?
Digital product, digital service.
What digital product?
Okay? Let me put it into
like a service, like a software?
Service or product. So in Netflix's case, it would be a service that has products.
So for paying money, you're getting entertainment.
Sure, right? And that would be the Netflix model.
Sure.
Okay. In Google, you're not paying anything.
You're giving up your personal data for access to custom results,
and now what they're doing is through Google Ads, because now enough people go there, right? What makes Google that much profitable, or that like this is how much Google is worth, okay, had very little to do early on with how much money they were making off adverts, and more so what they had in usership. Their usership is what drove Google Ads to exist, okay?
What about MySpace?
Where were there? What was the longevity of that? Like, not everybody was into music profile shit, right? Not everybody was into MySpace and social marketing.
What I'm saying is there was a lot of
what
MySpace.
About Hi-Fi?
No, hold on.
What about Napster?
There was a lot of AskGs, and there was a lot of
about.
Facebooks before there was Google.
Yeah.
And before there was Facebook.
Yeah. And
right?
that's why we're talking about the big players.
So
what
if you ask me, Binance is going to be based on its criminal behaviors and its fraudulent activity and its general China hustle, chasing the dollar instead of chasing the tech and the business practices, they're not going to sustain in the space. Okay. So if you ask me, does something that's printed and centralized and only redeemable by one person, it's like everyone who got fucked on their Sears gift cards. Do you understand?
Yeah, because the company went under.
Right.
Because nobody was using their service.
If you could have 100 Bitcoins and 100 Bitcoin companies could go under and you can't get fucked. Even suggesting that you have that value of that coin is going to be parred in any sense financially, in any technical analysis sense, or any real life situation, that the value of the company is absolute bullshit. That breaks down any economists listen to this right now is just cringing in their seat, hearing people say things. No, but people say things like this. Yeah. The BNB is like owning stocks in Binance. Yeah. No, well, it's not.
If you're gonna compare Binance to Sears, I'm gonna put those blinders on and compare Binance as a company.
So by having
BNB
credits,
being its credit or
by
stock.
having credits with a centralized industry, when that entity goes away, all the risk goes away. What I'm saying is with Bitcoin and Ethereum and other wide usage coins, you will never encounter that situation
unless you leave your Bitcoin on that platform's wallet.
Well, that's because you're leaving your coins in a centralized location.
But it could still happen.
Centralization is what kills people in this industry.
I get it. I understand.
It's what we're trying to get away from with blockchain.
Totally.
We're trying to get away from the Facebook, the Binance, or the bank coin.
Yeah.
The Binance coin is no different than the JP coin. You have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I understand that,
except that the JP coin will have application in the financial industry because they'll be able to move money around at a reduced fee. But if you like the JP coin as a application and as a technology, then you buy into JP. You don't buy JP coin. If you like Binance's BNB coin, you don't buy BNB to hedge your bet. You buy in to BNB Binance the company. You acquire shares. You invest into the company. You leverage something against them and use that to get an investment in the company itself. Then you can say, I own a part of the company.
Yeah.
These fucking tokens are irrelevant. I'm not saying that
those tokens are making you own part of the company. What I'm saying is that I'm willing to put into that token because I understand the usership of that company.
Sure.
And that it's continuing
same reason people
to work.
use banks.
And their benefit, the benefit to BNB is, hey, if you transfer through BNB, we're going to reduce your transfer.
We're not arguing. No, we're not arguing about application.
Exactly.
It has great application. I, as a crypto user, see it as a valuable application. I hold BNB coins for my trading fees. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But as a speculative investment, it doesn't meet any of the requirements that a cryptocurrency meets.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to... Yeah, dude, you and I are on two different pages, though, because I'm like, this is what I'm swing trading, and this is what I go into, because I know it's going to hold for the most part, because I know it's going to go up, blah, 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 blah.
But it's centralized, so how do you know this?
Yeah, fair. You can't I know this because I look at it like... Okay, Binance?
How do you think people felt about Quadriga or NiceHash?
Dude, I understand, but I was smart enough to get out of that.
And literally every other week, another exchange goes down. Yeah, you're just standing here behaving like your exchange is immutable to all these practices.
No, but it's less likely. It's for sure less likely.
I would almost argue that it's a larger target and that there's more hackers. And there's more people trying to
I'm not debating hackers.
Infiltrate that company. Yeah. And there's more people inside trying to do insider jobs.
But for you to say that the company is going to go under on its own is, to me...
I think it's on the way. I think it's already... So. I think it's on the way out.
I don't think
I think Binance is going to go under because of its business practices.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But we'll find out.
But you're uninformed on all these things.
Possibly, yeah. But
no, horribly uninformed.
Look.
You're trading on this application that tones of tens of thousands of dollars, and you don't even understand the sentiment in the market at large.
Here's the thing. You're bringing up specific instances that have happened with Binance. Sure. I'm not going to disagree with you, even if some of the shit you say is wrong or far-fetched.
Everything I've said is right.
Everything you say is true, okay? Yeah. I have no problem with anything they did. once again, because it comes down to, dude, this isn't regulated. There are new business practices. People are coming into this market every day doing their own shit, trying to find their loopholes. If I'm in any business, it doesn't matter if I'm good or bad, okay? If I'm in any business, I'm going to look for every loophole to help my company out. Whether it be opening my own charity, because that allows me to funnel my money out and make whatever.
Buy a Lamborghini?
Yeah, whatever it may be, okay?
So let's use the correct terms here.
Yeah.
To embezzle and fraudulently steal money from a charity.
No, I'm not.
If you're using a charity to buy a Lamborghini, it's fraud.
Here's the thing.
Oh, sorry. If you use a charity to buy a Lamborghini, is that fraud?
Is that embezzling? Here's why I say this. I don't know all the legal loopholes that these people are jumping through and why. So, and you don't either.
It's a charity.
Okay? No, here's the thing.
I'm pretty familiar with most of it.
But neither of us are legal experts and accounting experts and
I've taken 2 years of law.
Fair.
I took
cool.
2.5 years of macro business.
But that doesn't make us lawyers. Right? That doesn't make us lawyers, right? So a really good business lawyer for a company.
But
if I hire
you
and you're a lawyer that costs me $1 million a year, but you're really good at your job because you know every single loophole and everything, that's what I hire you for. I'll pay you $1 million because you're going to save me $5 million, okay? That lawyer knows what the fuck they're doing, and they're doing those loopholes for their own reasons, and they know they can get away with it because of the current state of the laws and regulations.
Except their charities just got shut down, so they're not getting away with it.
Sure, okay,
they are getting charged with fraud.
So we're going to see some repercussions come out of that, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll wait. But I bet you anything that we're not going to see Binance get shut down for this.
That woman who took over the charity is legally not allowed to operate charities in multiple countries because she's been charged with fraud.
Are one of those countries China?
So
I'm just like, is one of those countries China?
So you want to do your financial business through China?
No. What I'm saying is that if she is working for a company in a country where she is allowed to practice...
It's in Africa right now is where it's based.
If she's in a country where she's working and she's allowed to work, legal loophole that we can't do anything about. Like, there's nothing we can do about that.
And maybe you want something to do with those people?
No.
I want nothing to do with those people.
You and I have different ethics, okay?
Sure.
So I could say, ethically, that's not cool. I could agree with you there, okay? But I can't say that, she can't do her job. Like, the law can't say that because
she's likely going to jail.
Okay? Well, let's wait and see, right? But you're right. Like, I can sit here and if
a lot of these people are going to jail.
If the law is all in the favor of what you're saying, then yeah, cool. Take her to jail or whatever it may be.
But that only happens because they're using the traditional markets, because they're centralized. If they were decentralized, there is no legal authority.
Yeah.
There is no money. There is no charities stealing money.
Okay.
Because nobody's benefiting from it in that same way. It's not about a central entity.
Okay.
So this is why I say everything about it goes against the whole concept of blockchain. So far you've said, because we could argue the merits and the business of Binance and why I think it's not good and why you think it's good, but we still both use it.
Yeah.
We still both use Binance coins.
That's my
for that
point.
reason.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you ask me, BitTorrent, that's a no. For you, it's a yes. Binance coin, it's a no.
For me, it's a yes.
Why? Because both of those are centralized.
Yeah.
Okay. Which literally makes them not a cryptocurrency. So you're always trying to get more Satoshis.
Yeah, and my whole thing is Satoshi value.
So Ontology, interesting company, but again, for me, not a long-term hold.
Yeah. No, none of... Here's the thing. Swing trades. All throughout this year, I've swing traded Ontology. I've swing traded BNB. It's worked out. BTT, BitTorrent token, is newer. So I've literally
and that's where you're seeing the most gains is products that are hitting the market out during the bear market.
That's what I'm saying. So Ontology, for example, has done very solid pumps and then very solid drops, which is perfect because you know this if you look at a chart
the
sort of long
floors.
enough. Yeah, you kind of get a good judgment of how the flows
where the resistance is.
You got
top and bottom.
Top and bottom. So I've been able to very in a good way top and bottom out on Ontology and BNB very well.
And we do this
why,
too.
Yeah, so that's why
I swing trade stuff like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple because they're more predictable.
Yeah, I do those too, but what I'm talking about is altcoins specifically. So
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're always there for me, right? And I'm always doing the same thing with those too.
And I will happily put Bitcoins down on any of these. You want to make a bet about a coin, you want to make a bet about the value next week, next month, next year.
Yeah.
I am so confident in my macro perspectives that I will happily put my private keys on the line anytime. And if you're asking me for one Ethereum today, I'm going to tell you, I bet you BTT will be worth less money next week and less money than that the week after.
I'm not, look at me. I had this argument with Jason, for example.
Right.
Okay.
Who is new but continues to keep getting
good.
smarter.
He
keeps
I have
getting smarter.
Yo. Jason's awesome, but
he keeps getting smarter.
Jason and I had a bit of an argument about a Bitcoin bottom.
Okay.
And
he was wrong. He thought it was going down to 15.
No.
I think we're at the bottom.
He was right. I said that I think it could go down to 2,500 or something.
Never going
like
to happen.
That,
not
right?
again.
And Jason's like, no, it's going up from here.
Yes.
Oh, that was the argument.
And this was recently, last month or two?
This was like 2 months ago. Okay.
And that's when I started saying the same thing to Jason.
Yeah.
That we've hit the bottom of the cycle.
Yeah. And I said, for you guys to say that now is too early. I need to see this shit go sideways for a while before I'd be willing to even consider that it's going to go up.
And over the last 2 months, the floors have continued. There's always up and down action, but every time it's higher than when it started.
Exactly. Like the bottom has hit slightly higher.
The floors continue to rise.
It's minor, but it's rising, right? So,
which is the polar opposite of what it's been doing for the last year.
Yeah, which is a good sign, right? But the whole thing, my whole point is that Jason at one point said, okay, let's bet for what's going to happen at the, like, you think it's going to hit 2,500 at the end of the month? And I said, no. I said, I don't know when.
That cycle could be another year before we see the bottom.
Yeah, you got it.
The cycle, if you look at the analysis, the cycles have repeated themselves every time, but there's more time between each cycle.
Yeah. And so I'm not sitting here saying that
the next cycle, if the bull market runs and the market drops, it might literally be 7 or 10 years before we see returns to former highs. Yeah, and this is just technical analysis.
Yeah. And so my whole thing, and this goes back to BTT or BNB or Ontology or any of these things, is that...
But Ontology is a blockchain.
Yeah, just
BNB
dude, I'm going based on you're buying this and you're selling it and your whole plan.
So you speak strictly as speculative investment.
Sure, yeah, right. Using TechAnal, and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I bought BTT today at its current price and then BTT tanked, right?
Yep.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm okay buying this at this price now, knowing that eventually I'm going to sell it at this slightly higher price.
Yes, and that's where I get my long perspectives on stuff like Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Now that, for me, could be a week.
Yeah.
It could be a day. It could be 3 months.
Okay.
It could be a year.
Okay.
With BNB, for example, I made a killing.
Yes.
But it took a year.
Yes. So we got two people who've made money throughout the bear market arguing with each other about perspectives.
Yeah.
When literally the majority of other people, including the smartest people in the industry, have all lost money all year.
Totally. But that being said, is like my whole thing is when I say BTT now, right? It's not saying that it's not going to go lower. You know what I mean? It's not saying that it's going to go slightly higher or much higher, right?
Yeah.
It's to say that I'm okay with buying BTT at its current price, knowing that eventually, whether it be a month from now, a year from now,
what if adoption never takes, though?
Well, that's why I have
it dwindles into nothing.
That's why I have my stop losses in place too, right? So, like, understand, I'm coming at it from a bang for my buck perspective.
And ICOs will always give you a better bang for your buck in the short and medium term.
Yeah. But that being said, for the most part,
far more risky.
Yeah, but understand, for the most part, I'm also on your side. I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I do hold
which I hope are those. I hope that those are the majority of your holdings.
Yeah,
too.
So they're
unless you know something about a coin I don't. That's about to hit. Because let's all bring this back to the real way to make money.
Yeah.
The real people that are making money are insiders. That's where stuff like Ontology, when people were finding out the different companies that were coming on board, that's where it got a lot of its value from. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you want to be the real smart guy. Start making some insider friends. And I hope that you can appreciate that when I'm sitting here, if you had Vitalik sitting here, he would have very similar opinions about stuff like BTT and Binance Coin. And he openly voices these same opinions on his Twitter all the time. Shitting on Binance, shitting on Tron, and Justin Sun.
Yeah.
But for him, it's an ethical perspective about blockchain at large.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas with you, you're looking at it from a financial gains perspective.
Yeah. Do I want blockchain technology to succeed and prosper? Yes. Is that my main prerogative about this?
No, you're trying to start a family, make a home, make a living for yourself.
No, stop. I'm not trying to start a family in any sense. That guy might be because he's married. I am not. Thankfully. Amen.
I practice every night.
But that being said, it's not that I don't want blockchain technology to succeed and I don't want it to flourish.
I understand.
You get all that, right?
That's not your narrative.
I literally come at it through a money-making perspective. You're right.
Sure.
Like, this is an investment to me.
If you want to make money right now is the time to be hunting on those altcoins. Mm-hmm. There is gains all over. The people are seeing 150% gains you're talking about.
That's what I do.
In a fucking day.
Yeah.
If you're hunting, now is the time. It's altcoin season. It is. Yeah. It is. And that's only because we're at the bottom of this bull run. I'm the longest you can long on Ethereum.
Yeah.
Ethereum is the majority of our holdings, and we do most of our business in Ethereum.
Okay.
Second would be something like Bitcoin. Now, I hate to say it right now, but I'm holding a lot of Ripple because it's deviations right now. But I do not think Ripple is a long hold. I think even having Ripple for a day is risky as hell because XRP is not necessary for the Ripple technology. But, yeah, you got to be careful. So, I like Ethereum as a tech play.
Yeah.
I think Ethereum is the Google, the IBM, the Microsoft of everything going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that it won't get sold off. It won't get bought up, and it won't get conglomerated. I think at some point, the Ethereum Foundation will take over the full consensus, and it will become a full non-profit entity trying to usher in good and eliminate corruption in the world.
Let's hope so.
And I don't think there will be a single other blockchain that will become a full non-profit in that sense. Okay. I think Bitcoin is a good hold because Bitcoin can receive lots of value. Mm-hmm. Whereas I can't tell you where BTT is going because there's no analysis from any former markets.
Yeah.
There's no real asset physically that's there, and there's no adoption in the industry yet. No one's using it in any sense. You can't exchange it anywhere. It's not used.
Yeah.
So whereas I can't tell you where it'll be in a year, 2 years, 5 years, I can guarantee you that Bitcoin will likely be around.
Yeah.
And still used. Mm-hmm. And so I like that as a long-term hold.
Totally.
And then when you talk about things like making money day to day, I need to listen to people more when they tell me insider information. I do. I've lost a lot of opportunities by not taking the advice from people when people I trust and people whose information I trust when they've told me this is about to see multiple gains. My morality or ethics or industry application or whatever results in me not seeing those gains always. And the difficulty is a lot of people aren't emotionally mature enough to do this day trading, to take the gains. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will say, I'll sell it at this much, but then they don't. You know, we had a couple clients who were millionaires, put 4,000 or 5,000 in and became millionaires on stuff like Ethereum. And I was unable to talk them into cashing it out. They kept talking about capital gains. Who the fuck cares about taxes? Congratulations, you're making enough money that you get to pay taxes.
Jesus.
And you're making so much money at once that you get to pay capital gain taxes. Yeah. What is wrong with that?
It's like the number one question I get. What about tax? Do you have to pay tax? I'm like, yeah.
So you should feel awesome to pay taxes because that means you're making money. Right? So this is it. these decentralized coins, these wider applications, they involve a lot less risk. If you get hit by a car, or if internet goes down, or if a bunch of things get hacked, right? It's more risk adverse. Totally. And I hate it. It kills me. I lose profits all the time. I have to tip my hat to you when you make money and I don't. But I'm going to rub it in your face when you lose money that I don't. And that's just the nature of these adversarial relationships that people should have in this market. Yeah. You should be arguing about perspectives and coins all the time.
Yeah, 100% I agree.
And hear people out.
Totally.
Where it took me a little bit to get through some of your armor. It did. But when I started reducing things to the decentralization, I think you started to appreciate some of my perspectives a little more.
Oh, for sure. No, I understand everything that you said and that you're coming from or whatever, right?
Right.
But, like, I'm coming at it from a completely different mindset and point of view.
So I like, but let's just close it out.
Yeah,
I like projects that pass the smell test. And the difficulty with the tech industry and the cyber industry is a lot of these people have checkered past to begin with. Mm-hmm. A lot of executives, a lot of CEOs, nobody's squeaky clean.
Totally.
And especially when it comes to cryptocurrency and this destabilizing, this monopolize, overthrowing, this decorruption industry, and the largest application of cryptocurrency for the longest time was illegal, illicit activity.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that there's two ways to become a security consultant. Okay, mm-hmm. You either you either get arrested for hacking into computers, or you work at a security firm for 20 years and then you finally get the 6-figure salary.
Yeah.
You got to go to jail and come out in 6 years and you got a Fed job waiting for you, or you bite the bullet for 20 years and you end up at the end of the rainbow, right? Mm-hmm. Well, this cryptocurrency stuff is the same way. There's the fast and loose, and there's the slow and low.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you want to make your money and maybe get thrown in jail, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And there's upsides to that. You got a job waiting for you when you get out. All these malware hackers, they opened up NiceHash. These identity fraud sellers online, they opened up these companies where people are now sending identity information to them willingly.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make this shit up.
Of course not.
You can't.
Yeah.
Malware producers putting programs in everyone's computer. My God. So I'm here for the risk reduction. I understand that my perspectives aren't the most profitable, but I think they are the most risk-adverse way to approach this. Mining, top 10 coins, and really being critical about the industry's application and usage.
Totally.
So now, your perspectives for day trading, how would you summarize that? You're here for what? I want to see Mashadot. Yes. Say it again, brother. Say it one more time.
I'm here for all the money.
Yeah.
See, even Lucas is here for the money.
Even Lucas likes the money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I tell people all the time, like, they're like, oh, what coin? And I'm like, man, I'm not in a relationship with any particular project. Other than Ethereum and Bitcoin, I don't care about your coin as long as it's making me money right now. Okay? So, and I'm going to go based on TA the whole way through, technical analysis the whole way through, and that's how I make my decisions. And most of them are swing trades, and it works. So, haven't been really burned, and when I lose 1 or 2%, and when I gain 25+%. I try to always gain 25% or more.
Yeah, I like taking 15, and I lose upside a lot. But I put all my sells at 15.
Yeah,
I take that. If you can take 15%, a few times a week, or once a week, twice a week, you're making 100% on your overall holdings in a month.
Yeah, it's dope.
Right? If Ethereum can get its voting consensus together, it's the only thing holding it back right now. All the software, Constantinople, Istanbul, Prague POW, all these new techs, the Zsnark, all these things are ready. They just can't agree at the implementation cycle, proof of stake. They don't know because the difficulty is they're going to have to fork every time they make these large software updates. Mm-hmm. So do they wait 6 months and finish all the software and then fork with it all? Or do they fork 4 times between now and then to continually introduce these new technologies? How do you test these things out? Do you run a test net and reward people? We actually participated on one of the Ethereum test nets.
Okay.
They were paying us wicked amounts of Ethereum for doing this. Vitalik was doing rewards for the testnet. So if Ethereum can get its shit together, I think it's about to see a huge value increase based on the proof of stake, which is going to result in people looking at Ethereum as a stable coin and treating it as more of a bond style of investment, where you buy your money, you leave it there, you get your 4 to 7% a year.
Word.
Right? And I think that that's going to appeal to a lot more traditional investors. And that also that encourages you to buy and hold. So a lot more of the miners, instead of being liquid, are going to put that money into this holding so they can get that return on investment. So if you ask me, the second that proof of stake hits Ethereum, you're going to see those floors rise.
Where can people catch you, man?
Of course. So I'm at Spilly Guy on Twitter. It's good_guy_biker on Instagram. It's Sir Crypto Kings on Facebook, facebook.com/Sir Crypto Kings. Facebook.com/GoodGuyBiker. That's my personal profile. I'm very outspoken on there. Feel free to chat me up, add me on there. And of course, our YouTube channel, where we do the majority of our posting, is Motorcycles Vancouver. I'm working on that. I know the name doesn't make sense. Good Guy Biker stuff. But that's where most of our content went up. We just put a whole bunch of really good podcasts up there, long-form podcasts similar to this. Nice. And I think that in the same way, we had several different opinions in the room. And I want to keep doing that. Yeah. And I agree with this guy more than I'm letting on. I really do. And I like the way that he approaches the industry just for the sake of adoption. Yeah. I'm playing devil's advocate. You guys got to appreciate that. Totally. Well, thank you, brother.
Thank you for coming, man.
And you know what? For No Fun Allowed, I kind of had a lot of fun today. Last podcast was good. I've listened to a couple of them now. You got more contests coming out. Yeah. Every 100 subscribers you mentioned.
I do a contest for every 100 subscribers.
You just broke 200?
Automatically entered. Yeah, and we're going to be announcing that winner coming up soon. They're going to win a Tentry hat of their choice. I know. And I'll be giving away a Tentry product for every prize pack from here on out, because I am now officially a Tentry ambassador as well.
Brand ambassador work. Love it.
They're going to win. They're going to win Launch Party, which is another book done by David Denman, who's the guy who we gave away a couple of his books to or whatever. And we will catch you next time with a very special guest, our first female guest.
Oh, exciting.
Ariane Sealer.
And what's she that going to be about?
She is AKA known as Sloan, and she is a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Wild.
Yeah. We got our first badass female coming in. I'm so stoked because it took me a while to get a female. That is the end of the No Fun City podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, all that jazz. Special thanks and shout out to Roots of Fight for the extra swag and gear. Much appreciated. Thank you, Jesse, who is the owner. Peace out.
Buy Ethereum.
Today's episode of No Fun City is brought to you by Roots of Fight. Check them out at rootsoffight.com and be sure to hit subscribe for your chance to win an awesome prize pack.